Hello, awesome folks. I hope you're having a great day today. Today, I'm taking a look at the next short story in this giant collection that has two short stories left in it. The Unreal and the Real. It's more than 700 pages long and has 39 short stories in it. For you folks, we've been doing a deep dive into by a feminist author named Ursula K. LeGuin's. The next short story is 18 pages long. It's called Sir, and it took me about 50 minutes for me to knock it out last night. It was a lot of fun, and I definitely enjoyed it for folks. So now we're going to be doing our review of this. Now, as a reminder, I picked up this collection when I was wanting to read the short story called "The Ones Who Walk Away" from Omalas, a shorter short story, which won a Hugo Award and heavily influenced a Star Trek episode that I hadn't seen before. And I was like, okay, let's watch it. And then I enjoyed it. And then I went and picked up the short story because I'd never heard of it before, and I liked it. And then I was like, well, I got the collection. Let's go ahead and knock it out, right? For you folks, let's have some fun with it. And so, also as a reminder, this collection is divided into two halves. The first half are basically more grounded, regular stories set right at our current time. And then the other half, which are now more like fantasies or science fictions and that sort of a thing. So this is the 18-page short story, Sir. Now, Sir isn't actually, I would not consider this a science fiction or fantasy. Short story doesn't have like an ending that surprises you. Oh, here, it's actually super secret. It's just an expedition to Antarctica, set in the turn of the century by folks, but there's nothing right. So you might call this an alternate universe because the people that do it are women, and so forth, and thus would be the first female expedition in the arrival for men. So you might call this an alternate Earth, or what ifs. Those would be in the science fiction genre, and so forth. But it's not written like when I read it, right? It's not like it doesn't like imagine a bunch of other things too. The women here are going for South America. Our point of view character is from Chile, and so forth. And they find together a group of folks. People's names are not kept. They have a donor, a ship captain, that sort of a thing you would normally expect from an expedition set up in the last century for folks, and then they counter expedition. They are after the expedition to Antarctica, South Pole, failed by that big captain who published his journals and a book. And then it inspired our primary point of view character from Chile. And so forth. So she's put together a contingent of folks and now they're heading out after him. And so forth. So that's basically the basic premise of what's happening. And there's nothing fantasy or science fiction-y about it. But it's in the second half of the section book anyway. So I actually don't think it should be. I think it should be in the primary one because it's just, supposes... it doesn't say what if a world was where women were explorers, because even in this world, right, it's all the facts line up with what actually happened, right, and so forth, right, and it's not like what happened with female explorers in another world were common, right. Here, they're also very, very rare too, just like our own world, right. So it doesn't envision that sort of a thing. So that's why I feel like it's not an alternate universe sort of a thing that would fit into the science fiction genre. Or envisioning other scientific changes too, right, that you would expect from such a thing. That's why I would put it in the first section. But this was co-led by Ursula K. I'm not going to argue with her too much. And also she chose the shores, and she's written a lot more than 39, and divided them up and wrote intros for each of the two halves too, by the way. In case you're interested. So I think this is fun. I definitely liked the core idea. I thought it was pretty fun and interesting and such. So I'm probably giving this like a 7.5. It's definitely a stronger short story by somebody who's won a ton of Hugo Awards as an example. She has a lot of classics in the science fiction genre, like The Left Hand of Darkness, which I reviewed for you and read, or The Lathe of Heaven, which was on my bucket list, which I read a couple of years ago. I loved it. And it was one of my favorite books I read that year. So it's a lot of fun stuff for you folks. She's also very, very popular in fantasy with her Wizard of Earthy book and her Earthy series that creates Ged and some of the other folks. And it also creates, it's a young adult work, it's a fiction, and it creates this boy wizard at school genre that Harry Potter and other people will play into with a lot of the same beats as Ursula K. LeGuin's. So she's also very influential in the fantasy genre too. And so forth, and is beloved on both of those genres for you folks. So that's one of the reasons why we're knocking out a collection of her stuff for you folks, because she's a popular and beloved figure in two of my three genres, and her stuff was published a while ago, typically decades ago, sometimes before I was born in 76, right? And again, the channel's name is The Worst Thing About New Books, which is a quote by a French philosopher named Jacques Joubert in the 19th century, who said that the worst thing about the books was that they kept us reading the old ones, right? And that's where the passion of this channel comes from, right? So that's sort of what's happening and so forth. One of the reasons why we're doing such a deep dive into her stuff, right? Because she's a beloved figure. Two of my three genres that I cover here are stuff that she regularly does, has impacted, right? So that's Sir Loved It, 7.5 stars out of 10. Have you read it? If so, what'd you think about it? Let's drop in the comments below whether you agree or disagree with my 7.5 out of 10. If you enjoyed this, why not hit that subscribe button, and if you're feeling frisky, the bell button to let you know when I post new videos for you folks. And then finally, I just want to thank you so much for taking some time out of your day and investing it watching my video, because we all have so many things that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me, that's incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.